Shabbos, everyone. Instead of our wonderful Jeff McClellan on piano and organ tonight, we have a special guest, Dr. Ralph Seelig, my mentor and expert in cantorial music, is joining us, and he will be playing the organ and giving our drosh of sorts this evening. We begin our service on page 128 in our blue Sidur Mishkan Tefillah with Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Meshochavdecha El Ritzonecha, Meshochavdecha Yadadadadadai El Ritzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Hayal Yishtachamei Yadadadadadai El Mul Hadarecha.
We turn to the top of page 124, 124, and please join me in this reading. We enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbos. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured. A beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Awareness out the flaws within the human hearts, the harshness of the weak. Let these drop away at the door. In the brightness Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayers. We turn back to page 123 for our candlelight blessing. 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzifanu lehatlik ner shel Shabbat.
For those who are able, we rise together and now turn to page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu B'Shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'asei bereishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh seichel yitziat Mitzrayim kivanu bacharta be'otam
Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Amen. L'chaim.
The top of page 127, and please join me. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days we exploit nature as if with a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days we act and care nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty, a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, and day of peace. We turn to page 130.
Lechu neranen al Adonai, Nariya, Litzur Isheinu. Lechu neranen al Adonai, Nariya, Litzur Isheinu. Nekadma fanav v'toda bizmirot nariya lo, ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei aretz v'toafot harim lo, asher lo hayam vehu asahu, me'abesh et yadav yatsaru, ki hu Eloheinu v'anachnu amarito v'tzonei yado.
Continue on page 134 with Psalm 98, Samru Ladonai Bechinor.
Samru Ladonai Bechinor, Bechinor v'kol zimra, B'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Samru Ladonai Bechinor, Bechinor v'kol zimra, B'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, yiram hayam umlo, tevel veyoshmeva, neharot yimcha uchav yachad harim yeraneinu, lifnei Adonai kiva, lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, be'amim b'mei sharim, yiram hayam umlo, tevel veyoshmeva, neharot yimcha uchav yachad harim yeraneinu.
Little change of pace on 135, Psalm 99, Romamu.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו.
Conclude with the end of Kabbalat Shabbat with Lachado D 138.
לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור מדיבורך תשמיענו, אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, שמו תפארת ולתהילה. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נקרא. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We rise together, greet Shabbat HaMalkah.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצהולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לכנדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
The bottom of page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before. Less routine, set my ways. We continue with our Chetzi Kaddish right there, 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא תברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמם ואמרו אמן.
Those who are able, we rise together, 146.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada-da-da-da, yada-da-da-da, yada-da-da-da. Yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach. לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. ידה די די די, 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 yada die die die, yada die die die.
The top of page 149, we read together, Praise you, Adonai, our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise you, Adonai, our God, for whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim, on the next page.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם בלילה נהגה יומם בלילה באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לחיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue together at the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe that we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land. The winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. There's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Our song of freedom, our Michamocha 158.
Mi kamocha ma'elim Adonai, mi kamocha netar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osei velem. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, mokei hayam lifnei Moshe. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, mokei hayam lifnei Miriam. Zeze Eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch leolam leolam ba'en. Yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai.
The top of page 161, and we read together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Our Hashkivenu 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'ha'amidenu malkeinu shomreinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha v'tagneinu be'etzah tova milfanecha v'hoshienu למען שמך.
The top of page 163. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is conceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Or Vishamru 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לתורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפל.
of page 165. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. And for those who are able, we rise together for our tefillah 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
The top of page 173, we read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. We continue with our Ritzei 174.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael U'tefilatam me'ahava tekabel U'tehil l'ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karom Lechol gadol et
Continue together at the top of page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. Make a tempered reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. The top of page 178.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Betom beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
We take a few moments for our silent prayers.
רצון אמרי פי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart, be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Ose shalom bimromav, hu Aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru Amen.
At this moment in our service, we take time to think of those in our community, those especially who need a healing of body or spirit. We think of Linda Applebaum, Margaret Bell, Harold Seitlin, Deborah Chagua, Karen Edwards, Hannah Fox, Belinda Gammon, Edward Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldman, Josie Hatfield, Sissy Held, Evelyn Held, Donald Himmel, Joan Jacobson, Corey Kessler, Bart Kolber, Jerry Lapidus, Wayne Lewis, Ashley Meyerson, Marlene Meyerson, Jeffrey Muss, Carol Bazitz, Susan Schumann, Leslie Simon, Chrissy St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, and Carol Wright. For those with us this evening, if you're thinking of a loved one, a friend, and you wish to share a name loud, we invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. For those names mentioned out loud and for those names that are still in our hearts, we turn to our prayer for healing, or Misha Berach, the middle of page 371.
A blessing, and let us say Amen. Bisheperach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
It's at this time where I'm supposed to give Ralph, don't fall, time to come down while he will speak about his appreciation for music and other topics, but I guess the story goes it was February 2020, so we can think about where we are in the calendar year, and our cantorial search committee was off and running, hearing from many candidates and other references. I was at the JCC. When you walk in, you enter into where they have the stage, and what I thought would be a 5-minute conversation talking about how great Cantor Whitner is, and which he is, it turned out to be a 45-minute conversation of the hardest form of negotiation I've ever had in my life, because Ralph is not only Cantor Whitner's mentor, but his true advocate for Jewish music and their experience together at the Hebrew Tabernacle, and Ralph's commitment to Jewish music, especially in New York, with various cantors there and in Europe. So it's a great honor to have Ralph. He's going to come here hopefully monthly. He's going to be setting up different types of music. We want to make Friday night the essence of Temple Emanu-El's worship experience, and it's people like Ralph who will help us get to that next level. So, Dr. Seelig, the calm is yours.
Shabbat Shalom. First of all, I want to thank Rabbi Wright, Cantor Whitner, and the congregation for inviting me here in Alabama. Very briefly, I'd like to tell you about myself. I'm professor of math and computer science at Fairleigh Dickinson University, but I'm also visiting professor of liturgical music at the Abraham Geiger College in Berlin. And what I'd like to share with you tonight is my experiences. Many years ago, I had a friend who was very firm with me and said, "You don't know what it's like to live in the footsteps of your forefathers until you walk the streets." Think about that a moment. My mother came from Berlin. Her parents made it to New York. My father came from Mannheim, Germany, and his parents died at Auschwitz. And the reason I'm mentioning this today is because yesterday, 77 years ago, Auschwitz was liberated. Now, I have to be very honest with you. I don't know most of your backgrounds, but the truth of the matter is, my parents, especially my father, never spoke about it. There was a wall of silence. And it was only after he passed away in 1987, I was 24 at the time, I looked through his things and I found all the letters that my grandparents wrote to him from Camp Gürtz, which was a holding cell in France for the Jews before they went to Auschwitz. And in this letter, it says the following. And you have to remember that I read this after he passed away. It's in German, but I translated it in English. It is to my father from his father, written August 13th, 1942. I have received your card. Like a miracle, I was left behind. Now, I must find out where dear Alice is. Alice was my grandmother. As upon my telephone inquiry from Gürtz, I was told that she has been sent away with a transport. Unfortunately, I don't know where. I received a letter today from Ludwig, that was his uncle, dated June 17th, that he has sent money to me. Please write whether and when it has arrived and how much. But do not send it until I ask you in writing. I am at the end of my strength. Because of yesterday's tragedy, 7,576 of the camp inmates have been sent away. When I read this letter, of course, you cry bitterly. And I was very annoyed and very hurt that my father never spoke about this. Because my father always said he wanted me to have a better life than he did. And like I said, it was only when I discovered these letters that my tears of sorrow turned to tears of anger. How was this possible that this could have been done? The few concentration camp members who I knew who survived said it very clearly. We all heard the rumors, we all knew what was going on, but nobody believed it. That was the thing that absolutely drove me wild. After reading those letters, I asked myself, what am I going to do? How can I do what we call tikkun olam, repairing the world? In 1987, after we buried him, my mother and I went to a synagogue, which we grew up in. They had music like what we heard tonight, organ and choir. My mother cried bitterly, and I stormed out. And for 7 years, I could not go back to this European German synagogue that I grew up in. I went to a synagogue where the cantor had no emotions, just sang the tefillah, and that was just good for me and my mom because she would not cry. But 7 years thereafter, I realized something. And that is, we had to go back to the synagogue that we grew up in New York. And when we went back to this synagogue, I realized something, as did my mother. The music was changing, and some of the people who were there for years passed away. And I knew, slowly but surely, that this tradition that meant so much to so many people would not survive unless I did something. So what do you do as a one-man person? Some of you would think I'm a little meshugana. I asked every cantor I knew, very simply, a simple question. Do you have any music you don't want? Or any of this old German music? Before you knew it, I started getting a lot of music. And the question is, what was I going to do with this music? And the idea was very simple. I wanted to pass it on to the next generation. Because if we really are committed to our faith, we end the Kedusha with Lador Vador Nagid Gadlecha, from next generation to generation. And we need to pass on a tradition to our next generation. The other thing that really empowered me were these three words: teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah. Well, I believe in those words, but how was I going to make a difference? That's the question. How can we all make a difference, whether it's little, or big, or even medium size? Well, I decided in 2005 to go to Germany. My father never went back, and I had to walk the streets that my grandparents and forefathers walked. And of course I had pictures, I had photos of where they were, but the neshama, the feeling, the presence, the sadness, the anger, it was a rejuvenation in my life because I was trying to make a connection. And that's very, very important. Making a connection with the next generation. And as I told you, I'm a professor of liturgical music at Abraham Geiger College in Berlin. For 4 months a year, I go. I train rabbis, I train cantors. Some can sing very well and others can't. But the truth of the matter is that if you want to make a difference in life, this is very important. Geiger College has become my outlet to rebuild something, as we say in German, es gehört sich da. What that means in German is it belongs there. Now, mind you, we can't live in the past, okay? But we can certainly connect with the past so that the past learns not to reiterate itself. Remember the Jewish poet Heinrich Heine. Heinrich Heine wrote the Lorelei. It's a very famous German poem that every child has to learn. Ich weiß nicht, was soll es bedeuten, dass ich so traurig bin. I'd learned that in 5th grade, and I had to write it all over the place because I couldn't remember it. But Heinrich Heine also said something very interesting. Those who burn books burn people. And if we don't preserve a tradition, then it will be over. I want to keep my words short tonight because I really felt that the music has to speak to all of us. But there are 3 things that really speak very strongly to me. These are the letters from my grandparents, and there are about 20 of them. The Holocaust is probably one of the best documented horrors of all times. If your family forefathers were sent to Auschwitz, you can find out exactly the day and the time they died, just like I did. And the reason I mention that is because everybody on the train needed a ticket. And the Germans kept a list of all the names, the transport numbers and letters, the time it left, and the time it arrived. And as painful as that is, as these letters are to me probably one of the most precious gifts I have from a person I never met, but think of almost every day, to the music. And I have tons of these books from all over the world. Because for me, music is a way of reconnecting to communities that really want and need for Jewishness. Music, very simply, makes the world sweeter. Okay? In fact, on Louis Lewandowski's grave, who we did this Kiddush tonight, there's a note that says on the tombstone, music will never die. And the third most important thing in my house is the prayer book. Because without the prayer book, you can't make the music. Prayer and music go together. And if we all understand what we're praying for, a hope for a better world, a hope for a better life, as we do with the Aleinu, as we think of the Hatikva, we think of how we as a whole can do Tikkun Olam. Shabbat Shalom.
In case you're wondering, Heinrich Heine, the poet that I referred to, he suffered from an identity crisis of the 19th century German-speaking lands that he desperately wanted to serve in the academy, so he converted to Christianity with a hope that one day he would receive such a academic chair. Unfortunately, he never attained such a position and regretted his conversion. But if you go to Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv, you'll find two street names that are named after Heinrich Heine, one of the greatest poets in our generation. But again, this is just a sad story of the 19th century Jews who desperately wanted to fit in with society, and that's why the genesis of Reform Judaism, something that Dr. Seelig knows so much about, was about making German Jews citizens in a foreign land to be part of something. We rise together for our Aleinu 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לבני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
The bottom of page 596. We have lived in numberless towns and villages, and in too many of them we have endured cruel suffering. Some we have forgotten, others are sealed in our memory, a wound that does not heal. 100 generations of victims and martyrs, still their blood cries from the earth. And so many at Dachau, at Buchenwald and Babi Yar. What can we say? What can we do? How bear the unbearable, or accept what life has brought to our people? All who are born must die, but how shall we compare the slow passage of time and the callous slaughter of the innocent cut before their time? They lived with faith, and all but many, and surely many died, with faith in God, in life, and the goodness that even flames cannot destroy. May we find a way to strength of that faith, that trust, the sure sense that life and soul endure beyond the body's death. They have left their lives to us. Let a million prayers rise whenever Jews worship. Let a million candles glow against the darkness of these unfinished lives. On the Shabbat, we recall the yortzites of Audrey Allen, Solomon Alun, Eva Rotenstreich Becker, Dr. Bobby J. Bell, Ethel Burke, William Burke, Charlie Bowman, Ann Brick, Ralph Brock, Jennedy Braunstein, Richard Lawrence Cohen, Lyman Cohn, Patsy Wheelclatt, Harold Joseph Denson, Reva Levy Engel, Blanche Marks Erdrich, Clelia Farguson, Paul Behrens Fraser, Molly Licht Friedman, Millie Gandler, Adrian Gerson, Edith Gawant, Gladys Kahn Gilman, Marion Kahn Gotcha, Hyman Goldberg, Paul D. Goldblatt, Meyer Goldner, Irving Goodman, Anita Hertzberg, Frederline Ramey Jones, Frida Kishinevsky, Nethy Klein Landy, Louis W. Louie, James Michael Luger, Bertram Goodwin Minisman Sr., Ernest Munchkazane, Leatrice Rosenthal Knack, Rose Perlman, Nathan Petrovsky, Ignatz Phillips, Lee Joseph Phillips, Sarah Penhas Robinson, Francis Rossner, Corrine Schwartz, Eva Siegel, Warburn Shelnut, Ida Sugarman, Marvin Silverstein, Hattie Lowenberg Singer, Abe Slotnick, Murray Sokol, Anna Steinberg, Al Taranto, Philip S. Trost, Irvin B. Warner, Norma Warren, Melman Weidman, Herman Weinstein, Roberta K. Weinstein, and John Scooter Williams. Our heartfelt condolences on the recent passings of Lynn Harris Spielberger Bloomston, mother of Wendy Rutkoff, Alice Hewell Brooks, grandmother of Daniel Adrezen, Maida Himmel, mother of Deborah Abalafia, and Frida K. Smith, mother of Neil Roth. We rise together as united congregation for Mortars Kaddish 598. Yigadal, Bigada, Shemei Rabbah, Bioma Divrach Rote, Vamlich Malchute, Vachayachon of Yomechon, Uvchayet to call Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Wizman Kari, Vimru.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam Olamei Amaya Yibarach Hishtabat Hidbaard Hidromam Nahitnaseh Vita Dar Vita Le Vita Lal Shmei Kucha
Brichu.
Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tush Bechata V'Nechamata Damiram Yoma V'Yimru.
Amen.
Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimru. Amen. O say shalom bimromav, huya say shalom, alena v'yakol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
O say shalom bimromav, huya say shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael me'imeru. Amen.
Please join us tomorrow night at 5:30 with Havdalah, with Dr. Selig and Counter Whitner. Then following Havdalah, there'll be some special selections for you guys, and I think you really will enjoy it. And tonight, in memory of where we were with the Holocaust and Ralph's story, for those who've ever been to Israel, where Yad Vashem is, it's in Western Jerusalem, and next to Yad Vashem is Mount Herzl. So during the founding of the state and creating the museums they wanted to tell a story, here would be Yad Vashem, the house that would mourn the Jews who were sheep sent to the slaughterhouse. But right next door, there's a special path, it's Mount Herzl. This is Arlington National Cemetery. And this is where the story of the Jewish people would pivot, it would change. Here we would defend our lives, defending the Jewish people. So tonight we rise in strength for what we've been through as a people for over 77 years, and especially the past 2 years, and last week, singing for hope with Haktikva. Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Hello, my name is Monica Singletary, and I would like to welcome you to the Taste of Temple Circles, our official launch of the spring session of Temple Circles. We are so pleased to share that we have circles or small groups that will begin at various times starting in mid-February. Our groups range from Haikri to Havdalah. I invite you to sit back, relax, and learn more about what's coming this spring from our leaders. At the end of the video, I will share how to join these amazing groups, and you can learn more about Temple Circles. Now, on with the show.
Hello, I'm DJ. I'm new to Birmingham and I'd love to meet other dogs and families at area dog parks, and we can play and hang out and be social dogs. So join our Temple Circle, Barks and Bruchas, and we can meet and play. Thanks.
Hi there, my name is Lori Elmitz, and on behalf of my co-chair Jennifer Frank and myself, I invite you to join us for our Temple Circle Books and Bagels. We will gather monthly in members' homes, enjoy a light supper, and discuss books which the group decides on. Books will be by Jewish writers or of Jewish content. Maybe we'll even stream a movie if the reading gets to be a bit much. All members must be fully vaccinated. If group leaders determine it is unwise to meet personally, we will stream or Zoom our meetings. Luckily, spring is coming and I'm sure we'll be able to have outdoor gatherings. The first meeting will be at my house, February 15th at 7 p.m. Come with your ideas for books that you think the group would enjoy. Looking forward to seeing you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Bevanek. Are you tired of cooking the same things? Want to learn some new recipes? Join the Cooking Together Circle. Together we'll decide on things to cook, themes for different evenings. Last time we made arugula, chopped liver, cabbage rolls. It was all really good. So join us, meet new people, learn some new dishes, and have fun.
Hi, I'm Peter Bain. I'm leader of the Crafting, Lettering, and Calligraphy Temple Circle. This group will be a great opportunity to explore making both English and Hebrew letters together. I put together some amazing resources to get us started. There'll be plenty of encouragement and helpful pointers for both beginners and experienced arts and crafts practitioners alike. So I hope you will join us.
Hello, we're Julie and Charles Stein. At the end of the week, would you like to leave all of your daily stresses behind and have some peace? There's nothing better than taking the time to reset and welcome the Sabbath by attending Friday night services at Temple. The words of the rabbi and the voice and songs of the cantor provide us with a spiritual uplift and mental peace.
Please join us in the Daven and Dine Circle, where we plan to attend Friday night services together and enjoy a dinner out afterwards. What a great way to make new friends and also get to know acquaintances while welcoming in the Shabbat.
Hope to see you there.
My name is Earl Rothstein. Marilyn and I would like you to join our Temple Circle, Havdalah under the stars.
We'll schmooze, dine, potluck style, drink and celebrate Havdalah together outside, weather permitting, of course, rotating homes. If COVID is still an issue for anyone in our circle, we will celebrate virtually. Our first of 6 get-togethers will be on Saturday, March 5th, at our home at 5:30 p.m. The other dates and times will be listed when registration opens. They are subject to change during our first get-together.
If you are looking to make or deepen friendships while doing something Jewish, this circle is for you. L'chaim.
Hi, I'm Billy.
And I'm Mike.
And we are so excited to welcome you to Lech Lecha.
Lech Lecha is the child of Hike and Schmooze, founded under the leadership of Amy Chauvin, now completing its 3rd year. Hiking outdoors with friends has been awesome from day one, but in this era of COVID, it has become particularly enjoyable because it allows us an opportunity to spend great one-on-one and group time with multiple people to form a wonderful community, which we've all been sorely in need of.
From February to May, we will meet 6 Sundays at 1 p.m. at area parks, and we typically hike between 4 and 6 miles. And towards the end of spring, we will be planning a weekend getaway to a state park. In thinking about the theme for this spring, Mike and I decided that we wanted to deepen the spiritual component of what we do.
Lech Lecha is God's assignment to Abraham to go forth, or for our purposes and equally valid, to hike forth from your native land, from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. This certainly describes the journeys that we undertake each week as we venture into the creation that God so lovingly reveals to us.
Lech Lecha can also be interpreted as go to yourself, as in your inner self. As part of our journey this spring on developing our inner selves, we will focus on the Jewish practice of Musar, which has evolved over the past millennium. This is the practice of developing our character traits in conjunction with our relationship with God, so that we can better serve each other. At the midpoint of each hike, we will stop and spend about 15 minutes discussing the midot of gratitude, loving kindness, humility, patience, compassion, and equanimity.
We're very excited to have you join us and so look forward to hiking forth with you. Shalom.
Shalom.
We've all had an experience where a minister, a family member, a rabbi said something that made us feel rejected, that we didn't belong. We've all had to grit our teeth at a party or a meeting where a friend or cohort made a comment that made us feel somehow less than. Need a place to share that? I'm Jesse Bates. Now that doesn't sound very Jewish, does it? Well, that's kind of the point of our little circle group. My wife and I have had the privilege of heading up several sessions of loving our interfaith family. It's been a lifeline for us and for those who joined in our discussions. We talk about surviving and thriving in this divided, confused, and not so loving world of ours. And we've discovered how cultural differences sometimes get mixed in with issues of faith. Then we have that happy surprise when it turns out we're really more alike than we knew. So, need a place to share all that? Loving our interfaith families may be just your group. We're scheduled to meet on Tuesdays every other week for 6 sessions at 6 o'clock. Hope you'll think about joining us.
Has stories to tell. I encourage you to share some of your interesting and amusing stories in my Temple Circle called Stories, Music, and Laughter. We connect in friendship and fellowship. Nothing brings people together like the power of a good story. We socialize, we schmooze, but let me emphasize the laughter. We have so much fun that some of our participants have rejoined this group time after time. Your life is a story. Tell us what happened when you were stopped by a cop, or the surprise at your child's bar mitzvah, or the advice your parents gave that you'll never forget. We sometimes share deep thoughts. Most of all, we are entertaining and enjoyable. Please consider this a personal invitation. I hope to see you soon.
Hi, my name is Jan Hirsch. My husband Ron and I would like to invite you to join us for our new Temple Circle called Take a Breath, a Shabbat dinner group for empty nesters. We hope you will join us for several evenings of Shabbat fellowship, sitting around a Shabbat table, enjoying meeting some new people and making some new friends and celebrating Shabbat. The evening is going to be casual dress, so please consider joining us. Thanks.
My name is Linda Barstein. I will be leading a new Temple Circle this spring with my good friend Andrew Sperling. The name of the circle is called Walking with Intention. On any given Sunday, the group will meet for an intentional walk somewhere in the Birmingham or Mountain Brook area. These walks will be at places like Railroad Park, Vulcan Park, Jemison Park Nature Trail, and the Botanical Gardens. We will explore the history as well as the beauty in each of these places. As we begin each journey, we will set an intention for the walk. An example could be gratitude. Setting an intention will allow us to practice mindfulness, and we will be present in our surroundings. We hope that you will join us as we explore beautiful places in our own neighborhood.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicki Luger and I'm a member of Temple Emanu-El for 25 years now. I am so excited to be a part of Temple Emanu-El's Temple Circles, Where the Winds Blow. That is a Marjan group that is online and we have a good time. Registration is going to be after my video. I just wanted to let everybody know that we are here for you to walk you through this fun Marjan program for beginning to intermediate, and all you have to do is just zoom along and have a good time. Look forward to meeting you.
What a great selection. I know you're eager to join, so I invite you to head over to ourtemple.org. That's OURTEMPLE.org and click on Temple Circles right on the front screen to learn more and register. Registration is open now for the next 2 weeks. If you have any questions, you are always welcome to contact me at Monica, MONIKA, at ourtemple.org or via phone at 205-933-8037, extension 213. Thanks for watching and Shabbat Shalom.